My man.
Did you just knock on the wall to have me sign on to this?
Yeah.
Were you
What
like that
you got it?
literally
You got an
just
issue with
like
that?
knocked on the wall? I mean, kind of. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. And kind of felt strange about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Kind of in a hurry, dude. Like, let's go, man. We gotta record this thing.
Aren't, aren't we all? Aren't we all in a hurry? Aren't we all in a
See,
hurry, Stu? Isn't that the
yeah.
problem? Isn't
I
that the
think
problem?
I think that's part of the problem.
Hey, it's interesting. You've been posting lately on this because you've been reading the book about what is it? The relentless elimination of
Ruthless,
hurry.
ruthless
Ruthless.
elimination of hurry.
Ruthless
Amazing book.
elimination of
I'm
hurry.
I'm like
Yeah.
I'm devouring it because it speaks so much truth. It's it's kind of been hitting me hard, man.
Well, I think I have many thoughts on this. I think I have many thoughts on this because I posted this morning. Something hit me as I was reading a book and my phone was near me. And I don't know what caught my attention, but my I was looking at my apps. Maybe I was doing my Bible reading. I don't remember what I was reading. But the point is, it just as kind of the thought ran by my head, like, I wonder if someone picked up my phone and took a look at it, if they would be able to see what my priorities are in my life by my apps, right? And I was happy when I looked because I'm a very I do like I put things in order of I try to put as many things as possible in order of priority. So like number one is, those just my lists typically try to correlate what's most important. So when I looked at my phone, I was like, oh, the Bible was the first app there. That's great. That's awesome. That reflects. And then I had like my clock and my calendar. And when I initially put those, I was thinking, hey, you have to really honor your time, your clock, and your calendar to be very intentional to drive those things so they don't drive your life. That was my thought process back then. And then I looked where my contacts were and they're very, they're down kind of in the bottom of the screen. I'm like, man, but are people more important than so I started going into this really analyzing and assessing it. And it was a really cool exercise for me to do. And that's why I posted that. I shared it because it helped me to reassess whether or not my life is reflecting my priorities. And a lot of our life is spent on our phone, spent looking at it. And then I started thinking about all the time that, and I'm not getting a lot of love on Facebook for that post because people are like, oh, I'm not going to challenge my assumption and my death scrolling on Facebook. But, but it just was this whole thing of time and where our time goes. And then I was thinking about your post and I'm like, man, this hurry thing, I think a lot of it is our own fault. I don't even think you have to
Totally.
ruthlessly. I mean, I'm not nothing against the book in any way, um, but I think to think about it, I think thinking about it a little bit differently is important in that we create the conditions by which we are then in a hurry,
Yeah.
and it's not that hard to get out of it. I don't
No,
think.
and he would agree with you in this book. Like he talks about, time itself isn't the issue. Like if you had a genie in a bottle and you wished, for more time, like your time, you'd fill it up. Like you'd fill up your time with just more stuff, more distractions, more things, more events. And so time itself isn't the issue. It's all self-induced. It's all self-induced because we are in just this like continuous grind. And my posts have been a reflection on how I'm showing up as a husband, as a father, because more often than not, I'm in a rush. And the the author John Mark Comer, his point of this specific section that I read that just like hit me hard was hurry and love. They're incompatible. Like you can't be in a hurried state and be showing love. You can't be like showing intimacy in a hurried state. And a gentleman in my Bible study said those very similar words. Like you can't show intimacy. You can't be intimate in a hurried state. Like if you think back to any time you're like angry, frustrated, Like you're trying to get your kids out the door, like daily, you're frustrated. Why? Because you're in a hurry. And so to me, that's been really impactful on like, I'm trying to like reset myself on why, why am I in a hurry? Why am I angry and frustrated and short and, you know, getting on my kids for being late? Well, probably a lot of it is like you said, self-induced.
Yeah, and I think the part that's really it's interesting to me, but it's also, I think, a point of emphasis in my life is we lie to ourselves all the time. And what I mean by that is every time I hear somebody say like I have actually, I have a new pet peeve and I didn't realize it. There's two of them that I have that are just been grating at me. One is I'm busy. I don't have time to do XYZ. Like I did not realize how much until I'm reading this book and it's highlighting some things about success and and also there was my wife was sharing a text exchange between her and somebody, and this individual was highlighting all the things they're doing and why they didn't have time to do something, and they were asking her to do something. And I know, obviously I know my wife and I know the person that she was corresponding with, and I'm just like, it just grated at me because I know all the things that my wife is doing and this individual are doing. And I'm like, to say I don't have time is just such a cop out, dude, because
Yeah.
do not tell me you don't have time until this thing, and I'm holding up my cell phone, until this thing is out of your hand and you're not scrolling YouTube and Facebooks and LinkedIn and all these things. Stop saying you don't have time. If you don't use this thing and you're not tied to it, then cool. Then we could talk about what it is. But the premise to start a conversation with, I just don't have capacity, I think is such bullcrap.
I'm too
And I
busy.
think I'm too busy. And I think we have deluded ourselves and we've lied to ourselves to such an extent that it actually drives me nuts. The other one that my kids say a lot is I'm bored. Like that has been driving me absolutely bonkers, because what it's telling me is, one, you think I created you. I didn't create him. God did. You think I had you as my child to entertain you, which is
Yeah.
false. Right. And two, usually I'm bored happens like 2 seconds after they're done doing something. I'm like, dude, you haven't had time to take 5 breaths. You're not bored. You're just not overstimulated. Go read a
Yeah.
book, go outside. I don't care what you do. And that's what I've been saying. Dude, I don't care what you do. Just don't bug me. You're not bored. If you're bored, go figure it out. Like, I'm not here to entertain you. And so those two things have just, and I think they're also related. I think they're
Yeah.
tied in
Yeah.
that we're so quote unquote busy. But as an adult, what I want to emphasize from my life is take control of your time, because we're creating these situations, and half the time I'm not against sports and doing things and being, quote unquote busy, whatever, doing activities. But oftentimes we'll sit there and we'll scroll through something until the brink of time that we know we have, that we got to be out of the house, and then it becomes an emergency. Right? Then we're like, oh my gosh, get your stuff, get your shoes on. Like today, I can't tell you so much. I'm gonna text my wife after this. I'll call her and express my gratitude. But all the boys being ready to walk out of the house early today was so calming.
Yeah.
And it was such a relief. And she enabled that. And it can always be that way. That's the
Yeah.
problem. It can always be that way. Now, sure, some things come up. I get, yeah, but not like every single day, how we typically find ourselves angry and late. Because why? Like, analyze it and stop lying to yourself. Use an app, use Clockify, track your time and see where it's really going, so you can stop lying to yourself.
Yeah, man. There's a chapter in the book that talks about the graduation of distraction, and it all started back in like 2007 or so, when technology and cell phones really became a thing. And I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's something absurd. Like we touch our phone like 1,100 times a day or something like that. It's something bonkers. And he, in the book, he challenges like you to just take 24 hours, and just shut your phone off and like see if you could do it. Like, can you go 24 hours without this thing, without this phone in your hand? Like, shut it down and just don't even look at it, turn it off. I bet you that'd be a challenge for a lot of people. My
Oh,
my
dude,
my daughter's
everybody.
yeah, my daughter's in we just got her into jujitsu, and we had a snow day last week. I posted on this too. And this is when I was reading this section of the book, but the jujitsu instructor challenged the class, my 8-year-old, the next day on a snow day. We're out of school. He challenged the entire jiu-jitsu class to don't use electronics all day long. Like, no electronics, no iPhones, iPads, tablets, no nothing for the entire day. The next day, while they were on a snow day at home, and he was like, "Hey, go play games, go play outside, go read books, go do whatever." And my daughter, like, she took it. She's accepted the challenge, and but like, she woke up the next morning, she wanted to watch cartoons on her iPhone or on her little tablet. I was like, "No, remember, you accepted the challenge of no electronics for 24 hours." And like, at first it was hard for her. Like, she was struggling. I was like, "Hey, there's so much to do. We have games, we have books, we have loads of toys, right? Like, just go do something." And I was like, "Here, I'll sit down with you and then I'll read a book and I'll sit next to you." And then she finally sat down and we read together. But like, it's hard for an 8-year-old to do that. Like, a 40-year-old, probably impossible. Well, not impossible, but like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick on the day on the calendar in the future. It's probably like a Saturday or a Sunday, and just kind of tell everybody, like my close family, "Hey, I'm turning my phone off for 24 hours. If you need to get a hold of me, like, call Crystal's phone or something like that." I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna turn the phone off for 24 hours and see what happens.
Yeah, man, I think it's good. I mean, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of years of people did not have cell phones, and
Yeah,
they somehow found their way to where they were going. They talked to the person that they wanted to talk to when they got where they were going to talk to that person. Like, it's completely possible. I mean, we can
totally.
do it, and it's yeah, man, and it's one thing from experience, being very, very intentional with this, for our listeners, if you just stand, if you stand firm with your kids in when they say I'm bored, when they come up, can I watch the device? Can I do it? If you just stand firm, it usually takes, now in our household, about 5 minutes before they go do something. And in my house, anyways, I don't know why. I don't know. My kids love to read. And usually you'll find them in their room reading,
Yeah,
or just playing independently,
yeah,
or building a puzzle. And it doesn't take that long, dude. Just don't give in. Like,
yep,
just help, because ultimately what we're trying to do is create adults who are actually self-sufficient and can do things on their own, and don't have to be constantly they don't have to be constantly doted over, or entertained. Like, they
yeah.
can do things for themselves, and I think it's a good lesson, man. And I think we need to get back to that too as adults, because it's just yes, it's just it's again, it goes back to, for me, it just goes back to being honest with yourself. Like,
Well,
don't
and
don't keep lying to yourself about what it is you're doing.
yeah,
Like, the mastermind's a great example. Like, what we've heard back, and this is not me marketing the mastermind in any way. What this is just an acknowledgement. And most of the dudes in the mastermind have said this is the best hour of my week, because it's
yeah.
awesome, right? Because they're getting poured into and pouring into other men and being very real relationally. And the number one reason why dudes that we've reached out to say that they can't do this mastermind. So you have a bunch of these super high performing individuals, ninjas. These are ninjas. These are not like, these are ninjas, saying this is the best hour of my life. And then you have these other guys, also ninjas in their own right. And their number one excuse that they cannot participate in something like this, doesn't even have to be ours, just something like this: I'm too busy. I don't have time. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got me thinking a lot, man, on just how I show up every day. I find myself getting angry at my kids a lot, and I shouldn't. I don't need to be. It's impacting how I'm choosing to show up. Uh, you know, Pausing, breathing, and just showing up differently, not in a hurried state. And I think that's been impactful for me over this past week of just kind of going through that and practicing it. So, um, highly recommend the book. It's been one of the most impactful books that I've read so far, just in my current state of where I am in life. So go read it, but two, like practice it. Maybe put the phone away for a couple hours, or join me and we'll go for 24 hours.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'll tell you, that level, even starting and being conscious of it has enabled certain things like this past week, man. Just when Noah was holding my hand at a basketball game,
Yeah.
like it was such a special moment. And I would not have taken the time to really capture that before. But even today, I was kind of hiding in my room, and he woke up, and I saw his shadow, and it reminded me of those pictures, like those shadow, like young kid baby shadow picture things that you can tell the shape of a kid's face in a shadow, but that they're just super young. And I was just stopped, and I was looking at his shadow. I'm like, man, this is going to go quick, dude. Like I need to be present to fully embrace and love on this boy, all my kids, but in the moment on this boy while I have the chance, because it's fleeting, dude. It's fleeting, and he's going to be a big boy soon. And he's not going to want to hold my hand all the time. He's not going to want to do those things. So I think there's a very practical reason we do it, and it just makes you better, man. Like kids and our families are something we should enjoy.
Yeah.
And if the phone, if an electronic device is holding you captive from fully experiencing that joy
And love.
then make a choice. Make a choice. Put one down, but at least do it willingly. At least be honest with yourself and claim it and own it. I am choosing my electronic device over my children today. Amen. And go do it, right? And be honest about it. Because if you're not actually honest about it, you're doing it anyways, and everybody knows, especially your kids.
That's right.
So,
Good stuff, man.
yeah, buddy.
All right. I'm going to go put my phone away and I'm going to go pick up my kid.
I'm going to get off the Zoom call because technology is just, ugh.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding. It's great. I love it. I love technology. Put it in its place, own it, be different, be better. Hugs. Peace.
Bye.